Happy Monday, everybody! You're listening to the Personal Playlist Podcast, fondly referred to as the P3. I'm Noah Daniel.
Music is a world within itself, with a language we all understand.
I am so excited to have Christine Chin here on the Personal Playlist Podcast. Christine is a classroom teacher and leader who's dedicated to student success and well-being. Over the past 14 years, she spent her time as a French Immersion teacher dedicated to creating and nurturing collaborative learning cultures that support teachers, students, and their families. Her experiences have informed her understanding of how to support students who face challenges within the French Immersion setting. As an NTIP mentor and literacy teacher, she's enjoyed the process of supporting teachers to further develop her skills and continue along their learning journeys. Her participation and leadership on the leadership team of the Mentoree has allowed her to be inspired by others and find creative ways to give back to her community. Welcome to the show, Christine.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's been a long time coming.
It really has. You know, when you're my friend, I kind of give you an open invitation whenever you're ready. I want to talk a little bit about your work as a leader and as a mentor. So before the Mentoree, you had been doing a lot of this kind of work through French Immersion, correct?
Correct. And I think that French Immersion is like such a, everyone says, oh, French Immersion, French Immersion. It is such a bizarre place to work sometimes because there's the old and there's the new. And sometimes being in the new, rubbing against the old can cause a little bit of friction, but it's a really fun place to learn. But there isn't always the support that, you feel like you might need. So that's kind of where I've kind of found my sweet spot a little bit. And I really, really love working with teachers, especially when they're first starting out, to getting their feet wet in French Immersion to kind of help them through the struggles, because it can absolutely be a struggle at the beginning.
And it is a different animal. It's not just French Immersion school. It's a different lineup of the day. It's a different understanding of how to utilize time. But then you wanted to give back even more, and that's how you found your way to the Mentoree. Tell us a little bit about that.
So how did I find my way to the Mentoree? So it's really interesting. It's kind of like the friends that you make once you get onto Twitter. So I got onto Twitter and I was like, I don't know if this is like a great space for me. I was really nervous. And I ended up kind of making friends a little bit, becoming an acquaintance, I guess, with Chris Clough. And he actually invited me onto the On Ed Mentors show. And when I was there, I got to meet you, Noah. And through there, I kind of, got more involved in On Ed Mentors and with the whole mentorship process. And at some point, you had put out a call for people who wanted to kind of get more involved, not necessarily on the leadership team per se, but just get it more involved, helping out in trying to grow the community. And that's kind of where everything started. So I kind of put my hand up and said, yes, I really want to be part of this awesome community.
Well, a lot of that shifted this summer when we were building a new space and really evolving what had been there into the community that we believe is continuing to grow now. What do you think is the most important part about mentorship?
I think one of the most important parts about mentorship is having that support system. And I think that if our reality right now is indicative of anything, it's how much we all need a support system professionally. And I think that, it's one thing to have, your support system personally, but having that, safety net professionally is so important because everything that we do right now feels like, it should take one step, but it ends up taking us 10 steps. So having someone to talk to or a group of people to talk to about those challenges can be so helpful, not only, as we're trying to teach students in this crazy environment, but also for our own mental health. And I'm really lucky. My husband's an administrator, so I have someone at home that I can talk to about that. But I also have a group of people that I speak to regularly about the challenges of what it is that I'm doing. And I'm constantly either supported by them or feel inspired by what it is that they're doing right now. And it's a really difficult time, but I feel like it's also a time where there's been a lot of really cool and innovative ideas in terms of what it is that we can do to help support students and teach them hopefully something during this crazy time.
I appreciate that so much. And I think your point about, having tools and having the opportunity for support, I see music like that. And I know that I'm not alone. So the idea of the show is really memoir through music and being able to tell your story through your nostalgic identity and pick me up songs. Tell me a little bit about the process of preparing for the show.
So I'd listened to the show, in the past, and always thought, oh, wow, it's so cool to hear, what people are picking, because I think that it can be really challenging to a certain extent. And I had really had to sit and think for a while about what story or what my story was and what it is that I wanted to tell about myself through music. So I really thought about the nostalgic, and I thought, do I think about something about when my husband and I first started dating? Do I think about when I was a little kid? Do I think about me as a mom? So it was really thought-provoking, for lack of a better term, in terms of how it is that I went about thinking about what songs I wanted to pick. So, yeah, it was very much just about thinking about who I am to a certain extent, which was like not something that I necessarily thought would come from this process, but yes, who I am and what it is that I want to say about me. So yeah, there was a lot of thinking that went on, a couple weeks worth.
Okay, cool. But you landed on something. And so I'm curious, especially because the nostalgic song took you so long. Set us up in terms of the timeline and what this song says about you.
So my nostalgic song is Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but not like the one from like The Wizard of Oz, because that movie always, for whatever reason, really scared me as a child. So it's the Somewhere Over the Rainbow by, I don't even know, Israel. I can't remember his last name.
Ole.
Wow. See, there you go. So by him, because I think that I really want to remember always my kids as being really little. And I think that I can remember that when they were very little, I would sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow to them to help them fall asleep. And so I think that was why I picked that song as my nostalgic song, because they always say that, like, the days are long, but the years go by fast. And that's especially true because Sophie is now 9 and George is 6. And I'm already kind of feeling like it went by really quickly. And I remember at the time feeling like, oh my gosh, will they just ever just go to sleep? But now, there are other issues and other challenges. And they're really fun to hang out with, but I always want to remember that time when they were little. So that's why I picked that as my nostalgic song.
Okay, the ukulele intro version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Said when you were talking about choosing your songs that you didn't expect it to tell your story so much. And this next song, the identity song, really can't not tell your story. So why don't you tell us a little bit about which part of your story this identity piece is telling?
So this song, and for those of you who are out there who may know where Mauritius is, my family is from Mauritius, and my name is Christine Chin, but my full legal name is Chin Pokoi. And actually, Noah, it made me think of the What's in a Name project that I did with my students last year, and I had to explain how my name came to be. And my last name, being 3 parts, that I don't use, has always been, I don't want to say a point of contention, but something I've always had to explain as to why it is that I have 3 parts to my last name. And so back in the day, when my grandparents went to Mauritius, the way that people were named was it was your last name plus your grandfather's name. So Pokoi, or Pokoi at this point, was my grandfather's name. So the song that I picked is very much representative of the fact that my family comes from Mauritius, and it's a really tiny island off the coast of Madagascar. And I was so lucky to be able to take my family there right before COVID. So, it's just a song that represents Mauritius and where my family comes from, and a lot of the cultural things that of who I am. And it's really interesting because my husband is actually Jewish, and at our wedding we did the hora. So all of the Jewish people were on the dance floor, and they played this song in particular after it, and it was very funny to see the Jewish people all go sit down and all the Mauritian people come and start dancing. So it's this is the song that if any Mauritian person heard it, they would know this song is from Mauritius. So that's why I picked it as my identity song.
Okay, Alain Ramanisam, is that how to say it?
I believe so.
Lee Turner, let's play it.
Batu fiesta ni gastontas, inabala na benanisa. Surtout quand il ne finit bam bam, ça se lève, pourtant tam tam. Mettre la paillasse sans tracasse, balala na bina blabla. Bouti bouti, les bouts danser, dans tous côtés, les bouts tourner. Mais sur les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Sur les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Il est sur la main là-haut, il est sur la main là-haut, il est sur la main là-haut, il est sur la main là-haut. En pendant Moya sans l'étonnage, mais pas invité, ni pour rentrer, ni pour manger boire, causer rire, pour matin pour famille la moyer. Nous reçons, y'a une vent cerveau dans ce café na pinatria. Toutes les passés, les bouts danser, même casse-cassés, les bouts tourner. Sur les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Les côtes devant, sur les côtes derrière, les tourner, les tourner. Et sur la main là-haut, il est sur la main là-haut, il est sur la main là-haut, il est sur la main là-haut.
One of the things I love so much about using the P3 format as the personal playlist project is learning that stuff about my students and hearing different languages in the classroom. And it's so nice when that comes to the podcast. So I appreciate that so much. And I knew some of these things about you, but I've never heard the song, and I'm psyched that I get to think about that image of your wedding and the shift of the vibe. So interesting how that happens sometimes. But that last song in the story of how you want to curate your playlist has many descriptors: pick me up, inspirational, motivational, pump up, and you picked all of them because I guess there's something about this song. And what it got me thinking about is it actually has a lot to do with your identity as well, but you chose it for this last category. So why did you choose it, and what does it say about you?
So this last song, I believe, is called "Magic in the Air," and it definitely is a pick me up song because it's fast and it's fun. But I've also have played it before in my class, and it's French. There's some French in it in any case, and I always think about what is it that I'm doing in my classroom to help make French a little more fun for the students who are there. I taught grade 7 last year, and they are past the point where they can listen to music that is sort of like, let's learn about the colors. Like they're kind of over that. So I really worked hard last year to make sure that the idea of French songs could be cool for them. And this was one of the songs that they really liked. There were a couple other ones that they liked. But this one I thought was a really fun song that all the kids would like get up and, bop their heads to. And in terms of like the message, magic in the air, I really think that we need a little magic right now, or at least I need a little magic right now in the air because, things are challenging, all day long sometimes. And I need it to be, I need some happy, I need some excitement, and I need something to feel happy. So I picked this song. Moreover, I also think that in education, that even though it feels challenging, I feel like there's this opportunity right now where we can make magic and make things really, really awesome for our kids. Whenever could I ever have thought that I could have a class of 17 kids in a French immersion program? So I really feel like I have this opportunity right now to make something really awesome happen in my classroom. So that's kind of why I picked this song. There's a lot of good things to be had, I think, moving forward. At least I'm hoping so.
It's important to be hopeful. This song is interesting also because it was the 2014 FIFA World Cup. And although it had an English title, it was also, the lyrics are in French. So it was like a total hit in France and Belgium. And I think it's a great reminder of the power of music to infuse people, not just with joy and hope, but with connection and community and language. So let's play Magic is in the Air by Magic System, an Ivorian musical group with the Moroccan singer Chaki at the front.
Feel the magic in the air. Levez les mains en l'air. Allez, allez, allez. Feel the magic in the air. Levez les mains en l'air. Allez, allez, allez.
Feel the magic in the air. Magic System, Red One, Chauki. Ça va aller. On te met l'ambiance à gogo. Tous ensemble on fait le show.
On t'invite à la magie, y a pas de raccourci. Oublie tes soucis, c'est bien faire la folie.
On t'invite à la magie, y a pas de raccourci. Oublie tes soucis. Oh, 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 oh.
So it's interesting that the song is magic in the air. That's what we want in the air, not anything else in the air. I know that it's exhausting to wear masks all day. I know that the EVS, the elementary virtual school experience, is exhausting, but teachers like you are tirelessly trying to make magic for students and trying to make this time not just memorable, but safe and uplifting and a really, impactful learning experience. How do you feel about telling your story?
I feel good about it. I feel like I've told the stories that are most important to me of who I am. I'm a mom. I am from Mauritius, and I was born here, but still I feel very much connected to that. And I'm a teacher. So those are 3 really important things about my identity. And I'm so happy that I was able to tell those stories today.
And how do you feel about sharing those particular songs in terms of like, if you wove them together and that was your story in a playlist, does it feel complete?
I don't think it feels complete because I think that there are other things absolutely that I would like to that are part of who I am that were not necessarily in those songs. But I don't know that our identities are always fully formed anyway. I think that things are liable to change, and the way that we feel about ourselves and the different things that we've find to be important or a value, or the roles that we think are most important, I think are liable to change. So I don't think it's complete, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either.
I love that you said that. The truth is, if I ask somebody tomorrow about their P3, it could change, and not because they've changed so dramatically in a day, but perspective and your sense of self really do play a role. And there's never a time in your life where there isn't a worthy use of your time if you're going to turn self-ward. I think there is always more to discover, and things are constantly changing. But what isn't changing is how much I enjoy spending time with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @MidamChin, YRDSB. And you can also find me at the Mentoree, where we're doing a lot of really, really cool things. So you can check us out there.
Okay, well, thank you so much for spending this time with me. This is a special time, even though we get to spend time together planning and working on the Mentoree every week. Is there anything you want me to add before I play you out?
Find that hopefulness, everyone. I know it's really, really hard right now, but there's something to be had there. Try and revel in that instead of all the other stuff that's going on.
Well, it certainly isn't easy, but hopefully music can make a difference. And certainly people that are exemplars about how to maintain positivity and be resilient can help. So thank you again so much for spending this time with me. I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us on the P3, the Personal Playlist Podcast. I'm Noah Daniel. This is Voice Ed Radio, and I hope you have a fantastic day.